Harrington Classic Car Restorations. This is the Apache truck. I'm going to go over everything that was wrong with this truck. This was actually ready for paint before I got it. So I said that I wouldn't guarantee the paint because of what might be underneath this, so it should get sandblasted first. So I'm going to turn this camera around and then show you what it looks like now after it's been sandblasted. So stay tuned. Everybody, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. We got the 59 Apache cab here. It's all been sandblasted and epoxied. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a walk around on this and all the things that need to be done on this thing. It was actually ready for paint before. It was on final primer. The customer brought it to me and I said the only way I'll guarantee is everything that I do is if it gets sandblasted. So I'll show you everything that the sandblasting revealed, even though it was almost ready for paint. Stay tuned. That we sandblasted it because all of that was filled in with body filler. That was filled in with body filler. Everything you see is filled in with body filler. But it was on final prime, ready for paint. I don't know how people can get away with that. Some more there, some more there, some more there. So we're going to fix all the metalwork issues that we have to deal with on this. And we also have the hood, the driver's door, and the bed sides. They were all blasted and epoxied also. So now we're going to start getting ready to do some metal work, some more hammering and dollying, fix all that, some rust work, in fact a lot of rust work, some there, some over here, some over there, and believe it or not, this thing was almost ready for paint before I got it, and then I had them sandblast it. Hey everybody, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. Today we're working on the 59 Apache truck, and we are going to cut the cab corner off because we have a new one, and we also have a new inner piece that we're going to replace, which once this piece here is cut off I'll show you. And what I do is I take that piece there and I set it up there and do a mark on it so I can do a rough cut on this panel, because the last thing I want to do is cut this panel here and then realize that I don't have enough. So as you can see, I have a ton of room to do my rough cut. So we're going to cut this off and show you the inner piece in a second. Okay, so here's the old piece, and that's what was behind it. So it's a good thing we got a new one, because that one was a disaster. Got a little bit of rust down there. We will be replacing that pretty soon also. Stay tuned. We actually finished trimming this piece out here, and we also had to grind some makeshift piece that was in there for some reason. I don't know why it was there. That piece there. This inner piece here did not fit with that in there because it already has that piece all indented in it where it's supposed to go. So we had to cut that piece out, and now we're ready to fit the piece in there. Stay tuned. Today's main project is the cab corner. We already did the inner cab piece, and today we're going to do the outer cab corner, make sure that's all welded up. We're going to splice this like we did on the C10. We're going to splice this here, get the piece out from the inside, and then we're going to weld that up solid. And we're butt welding it, so that's how we're going to do that. And we also saved that there, and we'll just butt weld this. We'll trim that, take that inner piece out, and then butt weld that in there, and hopefully we don't have a lot of body work to do on that. We are welding on the cab corner for the 59 Apache today, and this is kind of how we do it. We put it up there and we will cut it like I've showed you before. We put the panel up there,
And then we cut this piece here with our die grinder. I'll show you what I mean. On an angle, like that. We'll cut it all the way down, and as we cut, we pull that piece of metal out. I don't know if you can see it. So we'll start pulling this piece of metal out. Okay? And we'll tack it on as we go with our Hobart welder. We also had to cut this seam here to move this in, move this in, move that in a little bit to make sure it was flush. Now, I got a straight bar here to show you. That's how we're trying to get that as flush as we can. And if it's not, we'll actually take our snap-on hammer and dolly it flat as we go. And if you need parts for your 59 or any vehicle, whether it's your 66 C10, your Camaro, or your Chevelle, there's where to go. AMD. Stay tuned. Okay, we got it all welded on. A little more grinding to do here and there, and then we'll strip it down and epoxy it. Okay, here we are in the 59 Apache cab. We have that somewhat fit, that cab corner, and we took this piece apart because I don't need this piece because the inner piece is still good, so we drilled that out of there. So now we're going to fit this one. We'll take that piece off and we'll fit that one in there, and then we'll fit that one again also to make sure everything fits correctly. That rocker panel looks pretty decent right there. We might have to do some hammering and dollying to get that right because the stamping's a little bit off, but we'll get it. It's Sunday and we got the cab corners epoxied so we can start doing body work. On the back half of this cab, we do have some dents to pull, as you can see. There's one there, a pretty big one there. There's a little one there. There's one over here. And then we're gonna start blocking the roof. See what we got to do for body work there. So we're gonna get going on body work pretty soon. Today we're working on the 59 Apache cab, and as you can see, we did put cab corners on this inner and outer. And we're putting a skim coat on this whole cab corner just to make it nice and smooth, because up here there were some dents. It was kind of a little bit caved in there where it's double paneled because of your inner brace that's in there. We did weld this hole up in here for the gas tank, or gas cap. So we're just going to sand this out nice and smooth. This is our second coat. We did a main coat over here where we put the patch in. Now we just skim coat on here. This is our cling sport body filler. Now, right here. This is the body filler that we're using here, Cling Sport Supreme filler. I would say 99% of the time I have to put one coat on this, sand it down, and not have any pinholes in it. It sands really, really nice, which I'll show you in a second. It just flies right off like it's nothing. So let's just do a little bit just to start off. Make sure you always have your dust mask on. Nice 3M dust mask. Got our Cling Sport 80 grit paper. We're just going to use a Durablock for now. The reason I'm using a Durablock right now is just to knock the high parts off when I do my block sanding. I also have a couple other blocks, as you can probably see over here. These foam contour blocks, these things work really good for spots like this. We have a contour. I also have this 3M block that has a contour. That works really well for certain areas. So I got a multitude of blocks for a lot of different reasons. So here, we'll just watch how this stuff sands. It's fantastic. not using a lot of pressure when I'm doing this. I'm just letting the paper do the work and keep the block flat. Sometimes if you put pressure on it, if you're doing a hood or even a roof, what'll happen is the panel will move up and down, and you'll keep those low spots or create new ones. It might even be a bigger low spot if you're pressing too hard. So just let the sandpaper do the work. Here, I'm going to leave this off for a second while I talk. And make sure you cross hatch. You don't want to just stand in the same direction the whole time, because you'll create lines. You can also create a high and low spot, and it actually sands faster when you cross hatch, because it actually cuts that line that you already cut. It's a good thing I got that fan behind me, blowing all that dust that way so I can keep talking. That's all I'm doing is I'm getting all these lines out of here. So when I need to finish with blocking 120 and then 180, it's already all set. It should be straight enough. You can start seeing I'm going through to the epoxy that I put underneath. But it's already getting nice and smooth. And that's how I do all that stuff. So stay tuned for more. Today we're working on the roof of the 59 Apache, finding the highs and the lows. What I do is I take my Klingspor 120 paper and my Hutchins block. I block out the roof. I find my low spots. I will circle them with pencil, and then I will go around later with an 80 grit DA to scuff that up, the low spots better. But this one in the middle, I'm going to hammer and dolly that one a little bit more because I have it's not double paneled there, so I can hammer and dolly that, maybe even pick and file it, put some epoxy on it, and then I can go back to doing body work. But that's basically how I do that. So like this spot here, it's a little tiny spot and it's double paneled right there, so that one there will stay there. I'll DA that with 80 grit, and then I can spread my filler on there. And the reason I mark where the dents were is because when I DA it, obviously you won't be able to see where the dents are again. Most people will probably just cover that whole roof. It does kind of look like it needs it, but you got to start somewhere. Because when I block it out, that line will show up, and then I can sand that line out, and then I know that dent is gone. So stay tuned for more. We actually knocked out that spot in the middle there with our hammer and dolly, which is right in there. We did a little picking and dollying. We got our Klingspor body filler spread. Got a little bit up there. So we will attack that first thing tomorrow morning. All the body work is done on the cab corners and on the roof. Just got to do some sanding back there so I can get some spot epoxy on the bare metal and then prime the whole back of that cab and the roof.